Hey, what's up, everybody? So, I just wanted to make this, I don't know how quick this will be, and I'm going to try to make this as spoiler free as possible, but I want to talk about Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and kind of my initial thoughts after seeing the movie. And yes, I do have a very needy dog that's right there, and the other one's over there in the corner, because I was gone for just a little while to see a movie, and I can't be gone for more than 5 minutes. But nonetheless, um, the movie is so. Uh, I feel the same way that I felt when I left the last Venom movie, where there are these just flashes of brilliance in the movie that are really fun, and then there are things that just don't strike me right. And like I said, I don't want to give any spoilers. There's a big thing in the stingers, so make sure that you see the stinger. If you do, don't forget to stay because it's actually worthwhile. Luckily, the theater, well, I don't want to say luckily, but the theater was basically empty. There was maybe 6 people in there, maybe 10. It was pretty empty when we went and saw it, which is nice at the same time. I mean, it's nice not to be in crowded theaters, but still be able to see things on the big screen and not have to feel like you're worrying about crap. But so the good is that Venom is a lot more fleshed out. There is a lot more personality to Venom directly. I think Tom Hardy really is grown into the role. I think he knows the role. I think whatever they did from the last movie that was good with the character, they continued in this one, especially since, they're kind of established together at the same time, right? That they've spent some time together over the past, since the last movie ended. Part of me wanted to really continue from the ending of the first, and if you haven't seen the first movie, I am going to spoil this little thing when he goes and sees Cassidy in the prison. And I thought that's where it was going to start, and it kind of does, but I think that they do a good thing in this one of like recognizing that's what they did, and that he talked to him, and it gave him like some of his notoriety back as a reporter. And then it continues again when he comes to see him again for the second time. So what he did the first time, the way that it kind of struck Cassidy for him to bring him back and be interviewed by him once again. So but it's very like I said, with Venom, it's very good. And the first like 30-ish minutes of the movie are absolutely wonderful. Again, it's that relationship between the two of them. It's Venom like having that direct correlation between the two and recognizing when he's not doing well and not feeling great and all this stuff. And it's good. I really did enjoy all that stuff, and I enjoyed Tom Hardy's performance throughout the whole movie. The first one was a little weird because it seemed like he was a little jittery. It's still not quite the Eddie Brock that I want out of the movie, but I think it's still good. Like, it's a good interpretation of it. And I'm actually excited because I did end up I found that somebody was selling an old version of the comic, the graphic novel version of Venom's appearance and creation in the world of Marvel, and I'm excited to read that again. And this film kind of brought it. Now, the one thing I will say, Woody Harrelson is not a bad actor, not a bad actor at all, and he's not bad in this. I don't think that they were used correctly. I don't think that they were used in the way that I kind of wanted to see Carnage in this, and the way that I wanted to see Cassidy in this. Like it's not bad. It's just there's something lacking. And that was my problem with the first film, is that I'm like, it's good, but it's just missing that little thing that's going to make it a great movie. Like, I would say with the Spider-Man movies that have come out with Tom Holland, there is that thing that makes them both great. There is either a performance, specifically, the villains are very good in both of those movies. Goddamn Jake Gyllenhaal, still, I love that performance of Mephisto, and I love that I got to see Mephisto on screen, and it felt like that was a good representation of Mephisto. And then, when you had the Vulture and you have Michael Keaton being the Vulture, even though it's not exactly the Vulture that I want, The Vulture that we got is absolutely amazing. He's the scene stealer of that goddamn movie. Here, that's not the case with Woody Harrelson. I don't think he's the scene stealer of the movie. Venom really is the scene stealer of the movie, and which is fine, but I just wish there was more. And Shriek was good, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be either. Like, I felt like there could have been more. I think that's just what I want. I wanted more from the villains. And like, they rushed through a couple of things, the relationship between Cassidy and Shriek, and how Carnage comes to be, and all that stuff. Like, there just needed to be like more backstory than I think that the film was able to give us. And that's like my biggest problem with the movie. The set pieces are great. The action is really good. The comedy is really good. Little things. It really does feel at times like Marvel Studios made this film, and that's great, because Marvel Studios has done a really great job at bringing you these movies that are very entertaining and definitely worth your time if you're into the lore and you're into the world that they've created. And they think they've done overall a pretty good job of creating another universe, just like, all the different universes that they have within the world of Marvel. That everything is just a different part of the multiverse, and that one comic book story and the movie story and other things, they're all like the movies are representations of the world, but it's its own universe, which is great, right? And here, it's good, and it's nice that Tom Hardy wrote it. Like, he co-wrote the movie, but I still think they're just, when it comes to the villains, because even in the first one, I think my big complaint was the villain that was in the movie. That is every movie they're going to deal with a different symbiote from the world of Venom. Is that what's going to happen? Like, are we going to get Tyr next? But you can't really have him because it's the offspring of Carnage and Venom. If it's crazy, like what's going to happen, and who knows? Maybe they're going to do one of Cassidy's other storylines where he comes back at some point. Who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? It just, that's really the heart of it, is that I just don't feel the villain. And I really want to. I really, really want to, because I do really like Carnage. I like what he represents. I think there's also a little bit of that PG-13 that's going on. I know we need to get more butts in the seats, get more people in the theater. And how do you do that? Well, you get the teenagers, and they can't see a rated R version of this movie. It's not going to be as successful as Deadpool was, especially at this time right now. We're still in this pandemic shit. And so we can't do a rated R movie that's only going to be in theaters. It would have to be somewhere else. And it also kind of allows, Sony to put it on streaming platforms that maybe they wouldn't have done it before, because if it's rated R, they're not going to be able to show it on there. And this is where it's going to hit the most amount of people. But Sony, I don't know if they're putting it into like Disney's world, right? Where it's going to be, it could be on Disney Plus, even if it's rated PG-13. And they've had stuff that's PG-13-ish, or TV-14. I think that's like the max that they've really gone up to. So I do wish that it had that rated R like feeling to it. Carnage looked great. I thought he was really well done, really cool looking, really menacing. And I felt like Venom's like model looked a lot better than it did in the previous ones. So if you're interested in the world of Venom, I think that you're going to go see this movie. And I think that you're going to have a good time. And it's not to say, again, I'm not going to say that I didn't have a good time, because there are some really, really great scenes in this movie that were really funny or really action-packed. I thought the pacing of this movie was very good. That's, I think, its biggest compliment, is that they figured out how to change some of the pacing from the first one, where it got a little bit slow, not like terribly slow, but I never felt that the entire time while I was watching this. I thought that was absolutely fantastic for what it is. So I would say that, I would give Venom a 3 out of 5 destroyed motorbikes. It's like I said, I think it's a good time. It needs that little bit extra to boost it to the level that it's a great movie, that it would get a 4 out of 5. Doesn't mean you're not going to have a good time. It just means that you might be lacking. Like if you had, I think, super, 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 super high hopes for this movie, you might be disappointed. Me, I was kind of in the middle, and I ended up kind of in the same place, but realizing I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. If I have to, there's only 2 Venom movies, but if I have to say, which one is better, I think the first one's still just like a little bit better than this one, but it's not by much. It's still really enjoyable. It's not gonna do anything like crazy or over the top, anything like that. I think that if they continue to make these movies, with Venom, that they're going to be kind of the same. I don't think that they're ever going to. They may, who knows? They may do something that's going to get it in that upper echelon of movies, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. I really think that they need to take a story and really, really, really rethink the way that is. The first one, it's an origin movie, and this does a very good job of being, you know the character, and we're just going to throw you into shit. So, that again is another plus. So, thank you guys very much for watching. Don't forget, along with this video, there's tons of other 31 and 31s all available through the month of October. And I know this isn't like all this, extra production value and all this other stuff. I just want to talk about it mostly. So, catch you next time. And take care of yourselves and each other.